Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest for the afternoon, His Excellency Ambassador Gamal Baioumy, the former assistant to the Foreign Minister. It's a very good afternoon to you, Mr. Ambassador.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time. And let me start, Mr. Ambassador, by asking you about some of the recent developments with regards to the situation in the Gaza Strip. Palestinian medical sources and the Ministry of Health has reported an increase in the number of martyrs, saying 19 Palestinians were martyred this morning alone as Israeli airstrikes continue in sporadic areas in the Gaza Strip. How do you see the continued aggression, even in light of some talk that a possible ceasefire might be in the pipeworks?
It is, in my opinion, it is a very complicated case where nobody is saying exactly what does he mean. Whether we are facing with a prime minister who is, like many Israelis, is lying, and he believes himself, and he wants us and the other world community to believe him. And he is not at all against war, because the war process and this aggression is saving him from going to jail. In his own country, they are requested by the justice operation. If he leaves his country to any other country, he will be captured by the order of the International Court of Crime. Second, the head of American country, United States, he is a sort of unacceptable gentleman within the next few hours. He says something and he says the opposite, and he started his first days by good success by making all his friends enemies. He imposed tax on the exports of his main partner in Europe, his largest partner in China. He wants to annex Canada to be another state in the United States. He wanted to take over Panama again and things like that. And as of Israel, of course, I really accuse the whole Western countries that they support Israel in any case, because it is their agent in the area. It is the country who is separating the Arab world from the East countries of the Arab world or the Western countries of the Arab world, and this is sort of threat to all of us. The third party is the weapon industry. The armament industry, because it is impossible to have a war like on the international level between such countries such as Russia or China and the United States. So they are encouraging wars everywhere. And it's not me who's saying that, it is the American President Eisenhower. He said in his last speech, he warns us against the impact of the armament industry on the decision maker in anywhere in the world. So I am not in a position to be optimistic or to believe that this war will take end by all these measures. Only
Indeed.
that Israel is a relatively small country, that they do not have enough forces to fight on different fronts or to fight for many days. This is one. Second, that what we call that the opposite migration started in Israel, and 500,000 people of Israelis left the country because they didn't find it as a paradise or the promising land, and they went back to their countries. So, as the magazine Economist described what Israel is doing, the Economist is saying that Israel is building ghost houses and ghost settlements. They are making those settlements without finding people to occupy it. Now also peace between whom? A good portion of the supporter of the Prime Minister of Israel is asking him to occupy the whole territory of even of the Western Bank.
Yes.
So you cannot be optimistic at all in such a situation.
Indeed, and this leads me, Mr. Ambassador, to my other question regarding the continued aggressions as well now spreading and, spilling over into the West Bank. We're seeing, settlers, aggression against the Palestinians in the West Bank on the rise, and further reports of Palestinians being attacked and killed as well in the Western Bank. How do you see the shift into the Western Bank? And this is a very important and critical stage of the conflict.
It is a part of the government policy because it is not the settlers. It is the government encouraging everybody in the country to provoke our presence in Jerusalem and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and they are against this at all. So they will continue this aggression, and the only weapon we have is the Palestinian stand and our support to them.
Right. So I'd have to leave it at that. Your Excellency, Ambassador Gamal Baioumy, the former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you very much, sir, for your time and your insight, and for joining us on today's episode of Arab Affairs. And still with more news related to the situation in the Gaza Strip, Hamas has said it has responded in a positive spirit to the U.S.-brokered Gaza ceasefire proposal and was prepared to enter into talks on implementing a deal which envisages a release of hostages and negotiations on ending the conflict. The details in this report. Hamas said it has responded in a positive spirit to a U.S.-brokered Gaza ceasefire proposal and was prepared to enter into talks on implementing the deal, which envisages a release of hostages and negotiations on ending the conflict. U.S. President Donald Trump announced a final proposal for a 60-day ceasefire in the nearly 21-month-old Gaza war, saying he anticipated a reply from the parties in the coming hours. Hamas wrote on its official website that the Hamas movement has completed its internal consultations as well as discussions with Palestinian factions and forces regarding the latest proposal by mediators to halt the aggression against people in Gaza. The statement said the movement delivered its response to the brotherly mediators, which was characterized by a positive spirit. Hamas is fully prepared with all seriousness to immediately enter a new round of negotiations on the mechanism for implementing the framework. In a sign of potential challenges still facing the sides, a Palestinian official of a fighter group allied with Hamas said concerns remained over humanitarian aid and clarity over a timetable of Israeli troop withdrawals. Trump said earlier that Israel had agreed to the necessary conditions to finalize a 60-day ceasefire, during which efforts would be made to end the U.S. allies' war in the Palestinian enclave. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is due to meet Trump in Washington on Monday, has yet to comment on Trump's announcement, and in their public statements, the two sides remain far apart.